I'm Dorothy Bostetter, Treasurer of Unity of Bellevue, and I welcome you to our Sunday service. Thank you so much for being here with us today, joining in community of love and spirituality and awakening. In June of last year, the board got together at a retreat, and we created our revised mission and vision. Our mission of awakening people and transforming the world is a living reality. Little did we know that in less than a year, the world would be plunged into a pandemic, which has allowed us the opportunity to reach people across the United States and across the world, across oceans. Denmark, Germany, we've had guests, visitors being welcomed into our community from as far away as Nigeria. So I'm delighted to welcome all of you and invite you to breathe into the unity that all of us are, one heart, one breath, and take in all the gifts this morning has to bring to you and to all of us. I would like to introduce Becca, who will introduce us to our guest speaker and musician today. Becca?
Thanks, Dorothy. Good morning, everyone. So our speaker musician today is one of the most successful and admired independent artists in the U.S. As a singer and a songwriter and a producer, he's released 22 albums on his independent label, Humanity Music. He sold 110,000 CDs and performed for over 2 million people. He lives and works in Orange County with his wife, Melina, who's an award-winning silversmith, and his 8-year-old son, Jude. And during this 2020 COVID shutdown, he's created 42 and counting live concerts on his Facebook channel for us. And in a few minutes, I'll share some links in the chat fields where you can check out his online concerts, his CDs and digital downloads. And that's including his new CD entitled Sing About Love, so check that one out. So yes, this particular artist's music has been licensed by Saturday Night Live, The Today Show, The Voice, the Super Bowl, American Idol, but also we here in our own community listen to and feel into and sing his songs. I know you all know who I'm talking about. Let's give an energetic hand wave to Daniel Nahmod.
Thanks. Good morning, everybody. This morning is about letting go of worry a little bit. I thought I'd start with this song. When my hands are emptied, when my hope is gone, couldn't help but wonder what had I done wrong. But even though my heart was broken, there was no need to despair, 'cause a vessel must be open to put something better there. Oh yeah. Into my empty hands, gently you poured new life for me. Yours is a perfect plan The ups and the downs were meant to be. Now I understand you needed my empty hands. So forgive me when I doubt it. I admit sometimes I do. Or consider giving up 'cause I cannot see the truth. I know I'll never go without it. Your deep and abiding love, love, into my empty hands. Gently you pour new life for me. Yours is a perfect plan. The ups and the downs were meant to be. Now I understand you needed my empty hands. Yours is a perfect plan. The ups and the downs were meant to be. And I cannot help but cry to think of the gifts you've given me. Now I understand you needed my empty hands. So thank you for my thank you for my empty hands.
We thank you for our empty hands. We thank you for our hearts and our minds and our souls. And into them we invoke the divine presence that is ever with us and in us and all around us. We open this service, ready to receive all that the Spirit has for us in this time together, God's perfect plan. We bless this service knowing it is guided by the highest good for all, knowing we are here for a reason, to become more of who we already are in our thinking, in our feeling, in our acting, and in our being. We breathe in the holy breath together, and we call this time sacred. We call this time good. We are so grateful, and so it is. Please join me in our affirmation. Just take a few moments to read it silently, allowing it to sink into your heart and soul, and then we'll affirm it together as I lead us. I am at one with the living one. This indwelling presence is alive, alert, and awake within me, and I open my heart to its divine expression. I live in this promise of unity, for myself and for everyone around me, actively creating a life that works for me. I confidently contribute to creating a world that works for everyone. And so it is.
What do I do if I'm not chasing anything? What do I do if I've got everything that I need? It's a question that no one's prepared me to answer. Where do I go if I'm right where I'm supposed to be? Where do I go if wherever I am home? It's a mystery, no one can give me an answer. If the usual way doesn't work anymore, if there's no map for what life has in store, what if the race is over and we all automatically win? What if the game is ended long before it even begins? What if the test has been taken and we're all passing again and again? If the race is over, what then? What do I say if it's all perfect anyway? What do I say if I'm not here to change anyone? It's a question I truly don't know how to answer. How do I live if my life is eternity? How do I live if I'm no longer afraid to die? It's a mystery, no one can give me an answer. If the usual way doesn't work for me now, well, that's a void I know nothing about. What if the race is over and we all automatically win? What if the game is ended long before it even begins? What if the test has been taken and we're all passing again and again? If the race is over, what then? What is the purpose of time here on earth? How do I now define my death and birth? For that matter, what is my life really worth in the end? What's mine to give and what's mine to receive? Whom do I worship? What do I believe? It seems every answer comes right back to me in the end. What if the race is over and we all automatically win? What if the game is ended long before it even begins? What if the test has been taken and we're all passing again and again? If the race is over and we're all born victorious, if the race is over, what then? when things go wrong. It's natural to wonder, what celestial rule did I break? When things go right, it's logical to ponder, what credit can I take? But the truth is so much easier. I don't need a master plan. I can live here in the moment, 'cause my life is in good hands. I don't need to know where the wind blows, 'cause God knows. I don't need to know what the future holds, 'cause God knows. I need never know how pain ends, how my heart mends. I can just let go, 'cause God knows. Well, still I find I'm crying out for answers. Guess I'm still craving control. And still I find I'm afraid of taking chances, as if I could damage my soul. But at this moment, I remember it comes so clear to me that the minute I surrender, I'm as safe as I could be. I don't need to know where the time goes, 'cause God knows. I don't need to know what the future holds, 'cause God knows. I need never know how pain ends, how my heart mends. I can just let go, 'cause God knows. Oh, I need never know how pain ends, how my heart mends. I can just let go. I can just let go. I can just let go, 'cause God knows. God knows. God knows. So much pushing and pulling, so much fighting and straining, so much laboring against waves and wind. I am tired, my arms are weary, my back is aching, my eyes are bleary. I think I'm finally ready to give in. I have struggled, I have cried, I have screamed inside about the kind of life I've tried to lead. Well, right now, I think it's time, for the very first time, to lay down my body and mind and just be. If I stop steering my boat, does it sink? Oh no, current carries it along just so. If I stop steering my life, I'm gonna be alright. I'll just go where the ocean says to go. Down the block or to the moon, round the world or just to my room. I can't say where I'm supposed to end up. I've resisted for so long, as if I could do no wrong, and it's never been quite good enough. It's a funny thing, I guess, this prideful human saying yes without knowing what I'm agreeing to. But there's a simple fact I find, the decision's never been mine. All I'll ever do is what I'm meant to do. If I stop steering my boat, does it sink? Oh no, current carries it along just so. If I stop steering my life, I'm gonna be alright. I'll just go where the ocean says to go. It's a scary thing for sure, to lay down my oars and quit pretending that I've ever been in charge. But it's scarier still to spend this strength and will and never even have a peaceful heart. So here goes the toughest thing. Ironic, don't you think, that it's so hard and so easy all at once? No, it's not laziness. It's just the deepest kind of trust that I'm okay when all is said and done. I'm okay when all is said and done. If I stop steering my boat, does it sink? Oh no, current carries it along just so. If I stop steering my life, I'm gonna be alright. I'll just go where the ocean says to go. I'll just go where the ocean says to go. I'll just go where the ocean says to go. When we were doing our sound check a little bit before the hour, I picked up my favorite water bottle and took a sip of it, and I was reminded of the power of perspective. Because when I took a sip, it's a pretty big bottle, but when I took a sip, it looked gigantic. Gigantic. Looks like I'm holding a gallon of water or something. And in fact, it's, I don't know, 28 ounces or something. Perspective is an interesting thing, isn't it? I mean, our boy Jude is 8 and doing his best upstairs to not make too much noise right now. So hats off to Jude. Um, and but you know, he's asked questions that have brought up the subject of perspective over the years that are pretty interesting. You know, how big is the moon really? Why does it look so small from here? And you know, looking at something from one angle, it looks completely different than from another. There are too many examples to even count. But another one is the difference between owning a business and working for a business. This is something I found out I wouldn't say the hard way, but both ways. Because when I quit doing non-music work for a living, that was in 1998. I came out of college and I was a computer programmer at 3 different companies for the 6 years after college. Before I sort of remembered and realized that was not my maximum joy, not my maximum talent. I was good at it, but I wasn't that good at it, and it just wasn't what I was born to do and be and say. So I quit the computer programming and moved across the country from Chicago to LA and started making music for a living. But it has never left me how it felt to sit in a cubicle at those corporations. Never mind the fact that I didn't really want to be there, so I spent a lot of time playing solitaire and waiting for the day to be over. But just the general experience of working for a company versus now for the last 20 something years owning my own record label and being my own boss. When I was in that cubicle, I may have been bored, but I also wasn't scared. I was working for a Fortune 500 company and they had plenty of business. And I just had to sit there and wait for them to give it to me, give me the work to do. It wasn't my responsibility to keep the business going. It was only my responsibility to do my specific job. Versus now, and since then, 1998, 99, the perspective is completely different on running a business because I now run it. So, as I sometimes like to say, McDonald's invents hamburgers and I invent songs. And then I have to figure out a way to make a living from that. Any entrepreneur out there right now listening, you'll understand. You're kind of inventing a living on a daily basis in a way that an employee cannot comprehend. It is just a different perspective on life. Another example, very dramatic example, is the difference between having a child and not having a child. It's a barrier. It's an opaque wall. And at least in my experience, there were things I just literally didn't comprehend. Couldn't possibly comprehend. I'm going to give myself a pass. I couldn't know when I saw a parent with their own crying baby, I couldn't know the agony they were in until it was my baby, right? Similarly, I couldn't know for all the places I'd ever gone and seen somebody holding their baby, cradling their baby in a mall, at the airport. I couldn't possibly know how good they felt. How could I know? I've held babies. I've loved babies. But when it was Jude, it was a perspective that I couldn't possibly have until it was him and until he was mine in some sense. So perspective can change. In the literal sense, it can change how you see something. But what I want to talk about today is perspective on worry, and perspective on current events, and perspective on viewing the day-to-day ups and downs and the larger ups and downs in a life. Because our perspective on our day-to-day tribulations and our day-to-day successes, our perspective on current events, on news, on politics, on virus, on whatever it is, our perspective can be radically different, just like with parent and non-parent, employee and employer. Our perspective can flip. And when it does, I have found, and I'm no guru and certainly no master. I'm sorry. My name is Daniel. Nice to meet you. I am officially a hypocrite about everything I say and everything I sing, because I certainly haven't mastered anything. I'm just kind of working on it and working through it, like everybody, obviously. But I have found that there is a different perspective on a day's events And that different perspective changes the way I feel, changes the way I function, changes the way I sleep, changes the way I eat, changes the way I laugh and smile, changes the way I relax. And I know what I'm saying sounds like I'm hyping a book or something, and I'm not. This is actually a way to be, and I didn't think of it. I thought of it for myself, but it's way older than me. In fact, I have a copy of it here. This is a book that I read a lot, The Tao. It's one of the oldest books in existence, or known anyway. And so when I was writing songs like Where the Ocean Says to Go, I came across a copy of the Tao, and I was very discouraged to find that every thought I was having that I thought was unique and interesting had already been had about 4,000 years earlier and was put more eloquently in the book than I could ever put in a song. But okay, my my life, my realization, right? Um, so, perspective on worry. I have it was Becca introduced me and mentioned that I have a wife who's a very talented artist, a jewelry maker. She's also much smarter than me in a lot of ways, and I'm smarter than her in a few, mostly woodworking. But she's pretty much got almost every other category covered. And one of the ways that my wife is smarter than me is in her approach to the daily news. I grew up with my dad pouring through the New York Times every day, and my mom pouring through the Chicago Tribune or Sun-Times every day. And as an adult, when I moved to LA to make music for a living, I subscribed to the LA Times as soon as I moved to town, and I read it every day. And now we don't subscribe to a paper newspaper, but I do subscribe to the New York Times, and I continue to read it. And I, like many people, have found the news to be steadily disintegrating my confidence in leadership and my sense of I don't know, right and wrong, and where everything's headed. And some headlines are scary, some headlines are sad. A lot of setbacks, a lot of noise, a lot of fear, especially in the last 5 or 6 months. I think we're in kind of something of an unprecedented level of collective not knowing. I mean, and actually, I'd even say collective worry. I remember September 11th, right? Anybody who was old enough to, that the buildings burned, the people died, and our sense of collective safety, would you say, was severely wounded. I remember feeling like I was never going to be able to relax again as an airplane went by overhead. Anybody else remember that feeling? I remember thinking an airplane is never going to feel normal again. And then, of course, the crash in 2008 was also pretty unnerving. The amount of suffering, the amount of loss, of financial loss, the amount of fear and unemployment. There are moments. There have been moments, right? There are these episodes. They are unpredictable by and large, and not just the beginnings, but the endings of them. And when they happen, it changes us all. I think it kind of redirects us. Lord knows that America has not been the same since September 11th. I kind of feel like my off-the-cuff, unqualified diagnosis is that America has had PTSD since then. With a lot of knee-jerk reactions to things and a lot of quick to anger and quick to fear. Of course, there's a pretty blurry line between anger and fear a lot of the time. So back to my wife's brilliant approach to the news. Okay, so I read the news every day, and I fret, and I get angry, and I get sad, and I get righteous, sporadically get hopeful. My wife has a rule. I actually call it the Molina rule, even though I don't have to call it that to her. I just have to keep my mouth shut. Here's the rule. The rule is, if a news story will only upset her, rule one, and two, if there's nothing she can do about it, then I'm not allowed to tell her. Okay? I'm not allowed to tell her. Think about how many times a day, if you do read the news regularly, how many times a day do you read something that you've just got to tell somebody? Shocked and horrified, outraged, incensed. She does not know, for example, that there are pockets of the federal government currently attempting to sabotage the post office to prevent people from voting. Okay, it's not a political statement; it's just an observation. She doesn't know that. I'm not allowed to tell her. All it will do is upset her, and there's nothing she can do about it. It does not pass the filter, those two filters of me telling her. Okay, now, therefore, while I'm reading and worrying, she's doing something else. And she's feeling a whole lot better than I am. I've got a pit in my stomach and she doesn't. She can concentrate on a piece of jewelry and I can't concentrate on a song. She feels 4% more hopeful about the future of the city, the county, the state, the country, the world than I do. And what do I benefit from my worry? I'm not running for office, I don't think. I don't have any plans. I have no background. I have no funding, or no one's knocking on my door asking me to run. So how do I benefit from worrying? I'm drawing a blank. I mean, there is an answer to how I benefit. I'm going to get to it in a second, but it's not the answer that most people would think is a good answer. I think also there was a moment. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Fugitive. It's a Harrison Ford movie. I'm sorry, I free associate, but in theory, it all ties together. Trust me, you don't want to be inside my head most days. So Harrison Ford movie, The Fugitive, right? Great movie. Tommy Lee Jones is a federal agent, and he's hunting Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford, wrongfully convicted of killing his wife, and escapes jail, and he's a brilliant doctor and a completely stand-up ethical man who then sets about trying to figure out who did kill his wife and why, so that he can clear his name, grieve his wife, and catch the killer. And he is on the run the entire movie. I mean, within 15 minutes of the beginning of The Fugitive, he's on the run. And Tommy Lee Jones is a stand-up, ethical, by-the-book federal agent who hunts Harrison Ford like a dog hunts a fox on a hunt. I don't know anything about that, but I'm figuring they're probably pretty determined. And so is Tommy Lee Jones. And you watch the story unfold, and Harrison Ford has a lot of close scrapes. I mean, you're nervous for him. You know, if you're invested in the movie, you're nervous for him pretty much the entire time. And when I like a movie, I watch it too many times. Okay, I have a lot of weight. I've made 22, 23 albums, and it's not that I feel like a slacker. I know I'm a slacker because I'm fully aware of how much I have not gotten done, because I've watched every good, and there are good, every good Adam Sandler movie, 12 times. I've watched Groundhog. I mean, when I get into a movie, my wife can't stand it because I start like peeling away layers of significance that just don't need to be there, except if you watch it 25 times. If you watch Groundhog Day 20 times, it's a pretty profound movie, right? But if you don't, it's just a fun, cute, funny, sweet, sad movie. But I have gotten my head way into the script, and I find it to be a work of genius, right? Anyway, so I watched The Fugitive that many times, time on my hands, instead of writing the Great American Symphony or novel, needless to say. And a thought dawned on me, maybe the 10th time through that movie. And here's the thought. Because there are a lot of close scrapes for Harrison Ford, not just getting caught, but getting killed. He's in danger a lot in that movie. And I had the thought, the only reason I'm nervous watching this movie is because it's bad if he dies. That's what's on the line watching that movie. It's bad if he dies. I'm worried about him dying the entire movie. I am therefore putting a value. I know this. Hang on, I'm getting to a point. In case this sounds just blatantly obvious, ridiculously obvious. I am worried watching this movie because dying is a bad outcome. Okay. Then I started thinking, I wonder how many other movies depend on me judging death as bad. And I started discovering that essentially every action movie, for sure, is predicated, the entire premise of the suspense is that the person you come to care about doesn't die. Death is judged a bad outcome, and it's a filter through which we are assumed to be watching the movie. So that if we aren't feeling like death is a bad thing, then all the suspense is gone. It's, we have nothing on the line. That's like the ultimate. That's the ultimate cliffhanger. Is will Harrison Ford die? In fact, he literally hangs from a cliff, and you wonder, will he die? And if you don't care, in other words, not you don't care, but if you, I don't personally believe in heaven and hell, and I don't personally believe in like a literal reincarnation. So I'm not making like some Buddhist or Christian argument. I'm actually just saying like a inner spiritual decision. I am looking at that movie through the filter of death is bad, and if I take away that filter, my perspective on the movie is completely different. And similarly, when I'm reading the news now with my wife's rule in my head, it is suddenly a very different thing. Because now I notice when a newspaper says, here's what you need to know today. And I'm like, well, you might think I need to know it, but I doubt my wife is going to need to know it, because I'm looking at points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, dismal, scary, depressing, hopeless, not in my hands, and it turns out to be a list of things that I don't need to know. Once I strip away the payoff for reading those things, whether it's, and then the question becomes, what's my payoff? Why am I doing it? As I already established, I feel worry and my wife doesn't. I feel fear and my wife doesn't. I feel anger and my wife doesn't. I feel righteous indignation and my wife doesn't. I feel like the country's slipping off a cliff, psychically or emotionally or whatever. My wife doesn't, because she doesn't know, and I do. And meanwhile, neither one of us is making a damn bit of difference in the story. Where just one of us is happily eating lunch, and one of us is, damn it, I'm biting my nails or whatever it is. So what is the payoff of the worry? And here is where the Tao idea preempted me by 4,000 years. The payoff of the worry, as far as I can tell, is the illusion of control. That's it. That's the whole payoff. The illusion of control. Right? We all, we feel like we're, as informed citizens, we're supposed to know what's going on. I get it. I'm on board. I agree. I'm a proud voter. I'm a proud American. I'm invested in justice and in compassion. I'm invested in social services. I'm invested in school lunches and breakfasts even for kids who come to. I'm invested in society. I care. But to worry is a different thing than to care. Right? To care is to give $5 or $10 to a shelter, or like we have right outside this door. Actually, we have a pile of clothes that Jude has outgrown, and we periodically get in the car, and I make sure to take my boy every time, and we go down to a homeless shelter or mission a couple of miles away and hand them a bag of great, I mean, we don't buy expensive clothes, but they're fine. Kids outgrow clothes before they wear them out usually. So we hand them a big bag of clothes, shoes, and we say thank you, and they say thank you, and we drive away, and we've done a tiny bit of good for a family, that we'll never meet. Contrast that with reading an article about homelessness and feeling despair. I'm not congratulating myself, it's a very small gesture, but it is different to worry about it and to mull it over and to find somebody whose ear you can bend with your complaining or your outrage. That consumes your time, and makes you sweat, makes you feel alive, but doesn't actually achieve anything. It's a worse distraction than watching. Trying to think of another movie I've seen 1,000 times. It's a worse distraction than watching Wedding Singer 10 times. Because at least when I'm watching Wedding Singer 10 times, I'm smiling and having fun, versus consuming myself with worry. So I don't know if you agree with me that that the reason we choose to worry is because it gives us the illusion of control. But imagine how you'd feel right now. Let's do a little quick experiment. Imagine how you'd feel if all knowledge of the coronavirus was taken out of your mind. Everything. You'd been on an island. You were one of those soldiers in Japan. I don't know if they're mythical or true. That didn't know the war ended for decades. I don't know if that's true. I hope it's not true. But if it's true, you're one of those guys. You return to civilization, quote unquote. The Gandhi quote. Somebody asked him, "What do you think of Western civilization?" And he said, "I think it'd be a good idea." Anyway, so you return to civilization, and you've known nothing about the ups and downs, the testing, the deaths, the ambulances, the screaming headlines, the divisive mask brawls, the hoarding of toilet paper. None of it was in your head. You arrived today, August 16th, and you knock on the door of your old house, and your family says, "Oh my gosh, we're so glad you're home. By the way, if you go out to the grocery store, there are going to be a few empty shelves, and wear a mask." Are you worse off? If I tell you you don't know anything about what's happened until today, are you worse off? How much did you actually need to know? Let's assume you're at risk of catching the virus. Let's assume you're at risk of dying from the virus. Then I'm going to go ahead and acknowledge you need to know that it's out there, to wash your hands, right? Avoid certain situations. Got it. But how much of the controversies did you need to know? How many talking heads on TV did you need to watch? Not too many. But the more somehow the more we hear so-called experts talking about whatever it is, espousing knowledge where there really isn't much, a certainty where there certainly isn't much, the better we feel about how we've got a handle on it. It's like looking at an animal and wanting to know what species it is, as if the name of the species, named by I think it was Linnaeus who named the tree of species, Latin words. Oh, that's a hominid. Oh, right. As if you know anything more about it. It's satisfying to put a label on it. It's satisfying to put a name to it. It's satisfying, especially satisfying, to hear an expert tell you you're going to be okay. Or here's what you need to do. Or we used to think, but now we know. Don't eat salt. Bad. Wait, sorry. We used to think salt was bad for you. Now, eat salt. Now we know it's good for, and around and around it goes. Eggs, don't eat eggs. Eat eggs, don't eat eggs. Eat cheese, don't eat cheese. Cheese bad. Meat bad, meat good. Meat bad. No, wait. Moderate meat good. No, wait. Extreme meat good. And, right? And all of these things are games played by us and everyone around us for the sake of control, of knowledge, of certainty, of safety, right? But it's all, almost all, almost all a game. Um, I was an economics major in college, and some of my favorite headlines to this day are about this virus are, you know, experts say the American economy may never be the same. And I'm thinking, of course it wasn't. Of course it's not going to be the same. It's never the same. What are they talking about? Always changing, and changing beyond anyone's control. Experts could say that on any given day of the week, and tomorrow the economy is different. Um, just like experts are always saying, there was a large scale survey of financial analysts who recommended stocks. It was like a 40-year survey, and the statistical result found was that the world's foremost financial analysts were right about the direction of the stock market just under 50% of the time. Right? But in the process of being right just a little bit less often than a coin flip, they were selling a lot of books, selling a lot of financial planning programs, and of course installing in us, with their seeming certainty, a feeling of safety and certainty. But it was a game. It's been a game all along. Now, I only have a few minutes left, and I don't want to leave you with this sense that my perspective, anyway, I mean, you can take or leave anything I've said. Obviously, it's none of my business. But I don't want to leave you with the feeling that I consider this to be a perspective of despair. It's actually the opposite. See, if I surrender the illusion of control, my day starts and ends very differently. I am no longer, and I'm not a master of this. I'm just proposing it as something to experiment with. Okay. I am no longer beholden to somebody else telling me what's going to happen to me or for me, to my health, to my stock fund, feeble as it is, to my real estate market in this neighborhood, to the American economy. If I am not pretending that learning something, that reading something and worrying about it gives me a handle on it, if I'm not pretending that, then I can stay on top of major news stories if I want to, but I can also identify, like my wife does much better than I do, I can also identify when that doesn't help me at all. Not only does it not help me at all to know what's happening in the post office or in Sri Lanka or wherever it is, it doesn't help the post office. It doesn't help Sri Lanka. The victims of a hurricane halfway around the world, love them, wish them well, but me fretting doesn't improve their day and hurts my day. It actually to dabble in letting go of the illusion of control, to dabble in it even, frees me up in this moment to feel better, to think clearer, to laugh instead of cry, to relax instead of be tense, to sleep instead of lay awake. It is a powerful perspective to take on a day. Is my day preordained from some exterior expertise or some unavoidable, inescapable force acting on me? Or today, can I do what I'm called to do today? Can I rest today? Can I and maybe this is the most elusive of all, can I go to sleep tonight knowing that I did what I came to do today? Can I go to sleep feeling like I had done enough? That is a feeling that escapes many of us most of the time, that I did today enough. And that tomorrow I'll do it again. That's what I came to say to you today and to share. There's lots more to say. I'm out of time. And if I could just sing you a song and I'll wrap up. Oh, actually, that's not the right song. I change songs all the time. Here we go. I'm through asking where I'm going. I've been asking all my life. I've grown tired of all this wondering when everything seems to turn out right. So when my mind needs something to do, wants to know the future, I whisper this: I'm okay. I've always been, and I'll always be that way. You want to sing that with me? I'm okay. I'm okay. I've always been, and I'll always be that way, and I'll always be that way. So here goes nothing. I'm taking a chance. I'm opening up, knowing that I'm in good hands. And here goes everything. It's all on the line. No, but I'm not afraid this time. Some say it's crazy. Some say naive to close my eyes and take the leap. But I know better, 'cause I believe even in the dark my soul can see. So when my mind plays its usual games, oh, my answer is always the same. Yeah, here goes nothing. I'm taking a chance. I'm opening up, knowing that I'm in good hands. And here goes everything. It's all on the line. No, but I'm not afraid this time. Here goes nothing. I'm taking a chance. I'm opening up, knowing that I'm in good hands. And here goes everything. It's all on the line. Oh, but I'm not afraid this time. No, I'm not afraid this time, 'cause I'm okay. I've always been, and I'll always be that way. I'm okay. Always been. I've always been, and I'll always be, and I'll always be that way.
Wow. That's all I got to say. Wow. Wasn't that an awesome message? My name is Jean Palmatier. I'm your board host today. Thank you, David, for the message and the music. And I am so grateful today that I stopped wearing makeup about 10 years ago, or I would have had big black streaks down my face. So grateful for the Subway napkins that were in my side drawer. Just made me cry. And so thank you very much for that. That was awesome. This is the part of our service where we talk about our principle of abundance and how one of his songs, he said, a vessel must be open to put something better there. So that's probably the best way I've ever heard to describe our principle of abundance. As you give to unity, you also create places in your life for other things to happen. And in some cases, that's us giving you programs and us giving you things that will help your own personal development. To give to Unity, just go to our website, same place you went to sign in, and there's a button called Give. Select that, and there's all kinds of ways you can monetarily give to us. Also, we have fundraising types of things that happen. One of them's the Divine Dining Cookbook. We've had somewhat low participation, so that's another way you can give. Please submit your recipes. Monica will talk about that in a minute from now in her announcements. But with that feeling of abundance, intention, and engagement, please join me in our offering affirmation. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Thank you today, and thank you for joining us. For those of you that may be new, I did put my name and phone number and email address in the chat. Please feel free to reach out to me if you'd like more information about Unity of Bellevue.
We give thanks for each person present, for each gift given, for each breath we breathe. We dedicate these tithes and offerings to the divine will, so that they may be used to awaken people and transform the world into its own divine awareness. We know that as we bless, we are blessed, that as we give, we are given, and we align our consciousness, our intentions as Unity of Bellevue with the divine blessing, with the divine circulation. We are so grateful, and so it is. Good morning, everyone. My name is Monica McDowell Elvig. I am your center administrator. If you are joining with us virtually for the first time, we welcome you. We open our hearts to you. We would love for you to join us in our online offerings during this time. The best way to do that is to sign up for our weekly e-newsletter. It goes out every Thursday morning. And how you can do that is you can go to our website, unityofbellevue.org. And at the bottom of every page is a sign-up form for that weekly newsletter. We'd love to hear from you, know who you are. So, send us an email or call us on the phone, give us a shout out on social media, and thank you for joining us. We do have a lot of online offerings, and we'll have even more coming up in the fall for adult education. But for this week, let me let you know that we are doing our Wednesday Community Connect still at 1 p.m. every Wednesday. That's our opportunity to connect with each other midweek, to help support each other during this time, to help us stay focused on our spiritual principles, on our spiritual practices. So you can find a Zoom link for that on our website, unityofbellevue.org/launch, or just click on the button at the top that says Sunday and online gatherings, and that will take you to the page with all of the Zoom links. We are going to have Unity Kids next week. We're taking a break on the Unity Kids online experience this Sunday, but it will be back next Sunday. So just take note of that. We also have an online conference coming up. The Pacific Northwest Region Conference is coming up September 21st through the 25th. That's a Monday evening through the Thursday afternoon, and regular registration of $150 is due by August 20th. So if you want to get in on that rate, you have until the 20th to register. The link is on our newsletter. The link is on our website to register. And that conference, Becca is the music director. We've got some great keynote speakers, and that is open to everyone. So check that out on our website or on our newsletter and join us for that conference. Divine Dining, we are still collecting recipes. We will have the Taster's Choice recipes posted within a week, and you can try those out and vote on them. Even if you didn't get in for that, we still are collecting recipes. So we need a lot more recipes, and so we'd love to have yours. You can submit those on our website under events, under Divine Dining Cookbook. You can also email me a PDF or a Word file or a picture of your recipe with your story, and we'll use that as well. We're just trying to make it as easy for you as possible to get those recipes in. We have something exciting starting this week. We are doing a food truck with Mobile Meal Alliance this Thursday for the next 4 Thursday from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Now this is open to anybody, and we'd love to support that. So if you want to get some food at a food truck, it'll be in our parking lot for the next 4 Thursdays, 4 to 7. It's also part of helping to feed those who are in need of food right now, and we're using our Super Bowl funds to help support that event. So, but it's open to anybody, and we'd love to see some Unity people supporting that food truck this Thursday and for the next 4 Thursdays. Our prayer chaplains are always willing and ready to pray with you and for you. If you have any prayer requests, please go to our website, unityofbellevue.org/pray, and fill out the prayer request form there. Or you can email them directly at prayerchaplains@unityofbellevue.org. If you would like one of them to call you, to pray with you, or just to talk with you, please put that in your message, and one of them will reach out. There will also be a prayer circle after service, following service. Just stay on after the service, and Jan Kalin and Lynn Zeller will be running the prayer circle. So if you have any prayer requests and you can stay on, please join us for that. That is all of my announcements for today. Dorothy.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. In closing, I would like to thank the many people who made this service possible for us today. David Nahmod, thank you so much for your music and your message, and the beautiful reminder of the power of releasing the illusion of control known as worry. Thank you to Jean, our host, to Lynn Zeller, our meditation facilitator, to Becca, our music ministry director, to Sabrina, our producer and our youth and family director, and a shout out to Monica, our center administrator, who brings all of this together so wonderfully for us each Sunday. Please join me as we close our time together with the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Blessings. Have a wonderful week, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Sometimes I forget where I come from. Sometimes I forget where I'm going to. Sometimes I get so confused I lose my way. Sometimes I know you feel the same. Then I remember There is nowhere that God is not. No, no, no. There is nowhere that God is not.